these guys. And if you want a joint project to end up, you have to agree with them. And why? You go to Congress, and Congress will believe anything the Marine Corps says over any other service. And a good example of that, all these different models now being built of vehicles that can withstand explosions. You know, those bombs. They have this concave front end. The Marine Corps got the job of procurement, the smallest service. Why? Because they don't worry about rules too often. They go ahead and they do it. I should again talk about changes of requirements that come in. In the case of this Patriot system, just a little history because I know that one. The Army started this in the early 60s. It was called AV-70. It was going to be the defense system for the 70s. Then they had a competition, by which time they had a take care to get rid of the name because time was marching on. They call it SAMD, Surface to Air Missile Defense. And there was a competition. 3 companies won. RCA was one. We have a unique concept invented by a former Israeli engineer who was working for me. It was called target via missile. It's very cute. You radiate the enemy, and you send up an interceptor missile that has a receiver in its nose. Okay, you illuminate the enemy, the ray comes down and it's picked up by that interceptor, and the interceptor sends the information back to the radar on the ground. So that's a triangle. Now, radars do not measure angle accurately, but they measure range very, very accurately. And by this technique, you can get extremely accurate interceptions. And the neat thing is, if the enemy bomber jams, that just gives a stronger signal to come on back, so he's helping us to resolve the conflict. Well, RCA won one of the contracts. And in the competition, after the first round, we beat out, would you believe, Raytheon, the one that ended up with SAMD. What happened then? A guy in the Department of Defense decided the specifications for this system was too severe because it included shooting down missiles that had a range of 600 miles, like Scud. So he decreed that this could not be a part. It would make it too expensive. They decided to rebid the whole thing. Now this is after studies that a few millions have been spent. And the gall of the Army, they declared that the competition should use the RCA concept of target via missile. Well, make a long story short, I got promoted, and I didn't have anything more to do that project, and our guys made it a little bit too complex. And Raytheon, who had lost this damn competition, ended up the winner. And that was the SAMD. And it uses the target via missile system for which RCA has the patent. You might ask yourself, why the hell do business with the government? This is a way you treat them. Well, it's very difficult to do that. How often if you're in air defense, do you get a new contract to build an air defense system? When it takes 20 years to design and finally field one. What happens is people retire, like me. And you get a whole new group come in. And we have not learned how to scoop the intelligence out of our brains and hand it to the younger people. So what do we find? They keep making the same mistakes. What are you going to do? You've got to understand the nature of it, but Congress insists on ignoring it, or maybe they do know, but it doesn't look good to the children to tell them that, yeah, we bought it, we knew it was going to be an overrun, but don't say anything about it. Yes, now another problem that comes in about the reliability of our systems. You have to test things. Right today, the big thing is we've got computers. And so we're going to simulate everything. That's great, except we can't simulate the error of people when they're actually making things. But it's so much cheaper to do it. There is no way a simulation can avoid the need for testing things. So how